Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar, The Advanced Product Owner. I see that there are people from all over the world. That's so nice. I'm glad to have you here. Thanks for making it. So please help me understand what your expectations are so that I can share something that is relevant for you, because this webinar is for you. It is not for me. I will just start sharing here what people are sharing, and then we can have a quick look here. So we have a Mentimeter form, and this is what I want to know from you. It's like a tuning. Let's just start here and let me know if the sound is good for you, if you can hear me loud and clear. And I just want to ensure that this webinar will be great for you. So let me just have a look here at what we have so far. I'm looking here to the Mentimeter, and it's really interesting. As you can see here, we have a lot of skills, responsibilities, inspiration. I see also some people who want to get a job as a product owner. I will share some insights, mainly focused on the, I would say, on the part of advancing your career as a product owner, but they will also help you to become a product owner and to get this job. So please keep sharing here, and then we will start just soon. I'm very curious how it's gonna be. And this webinar, I don't want to be a monologue. I want to be something that we will interact, and I will get insights from you as well as you get from me. So once I start sharing things, just post your questions, and then I will get them and start answering. And that's what is the idea, is to be as interactive as possible. So I'm looking here what we have now. Responsibilities, prioritize. I will share things about responsibility, prioritization. I will share with you my favorite framework for prioritization. And I will just give you a hint. It is not about complexity, it's simplicity. And that's what I'm gonna go with you. Well, I see a lot of words here. Best practices, tips for newbies in tech. I will get some things to that. User experience, practical approach. Yeah, practical approach is my it's my thing. I really like sharing what is relevant and it's applicable for everyone. I see more people just getting here. Just let's start here. I hope all of you can hear me correctly. Just write it how it is it. Is it fine, the sound, the video? Please someone just write a comment here for me to ensure that it is good for you. Hello from Atlanta. Yeah, so I see one question here. What is extra on RCPO? Good, sound and video are good, so that makes me happy. Then I can just proceed here. That's really good to know. Okay, because I have a microphone here. It's just hidden because I don't want this in the screen disturbing us. So I just want to be free. And wow, there are already 190 people here. That is my record. I've never had this amount of people in one single session. And I will do my best here to match your expectations. But now, as we know here the expectations, I will be honest with you. I will approach strategy. I will approach a lot about prioritization, roadmaps, responsibilities. Yeah, I will go into something like that. And inspiration, well, I will do my best to inspire you. I will share some stories, some cases that could have failed, but somehow it turned to be a little bit differently. And I hope you enjoy. So now I will just start sharing with you the presentation, and then we can go from there. So please just write down your questions at any time, and every now and then I will stop, come here, take a question, and then we explore. As I said, I want something interactive. I don't want to be a monologue. So let's go within the presentation right now. I prepared something here for you. I hope you enjoy. Now let's start with this. So what can you expect from the webinar today? This is what we are going to approach. Why succeeding as a product owner is challenging. I will share some perceptions from the market and so on, and then we will come to prioritization. And I will be honest with you, this is one of the biggest nightmare of product owners. And then once we prioritize, the question is, how do we measure the outcome? I will share some insights also. And then I will come to the point, how can you become an outstanding product owner? And how can I help you do that on your journey? And the last part of the webinar will be about crafting meaningful roadmaps. So let's start with the first part. Why is it so challenging to succeed as a product owner? Well, the truth is like this. No matter where you work, misconceptions, any patterns, they are ahead of you. People will confuse what you are supposed to do. And the most common one is this one, the backlog owner. People perceive product owners as just a backlog owner. They will come to you and say, can you put this into the backlog? Can you put this feature into the backlog? But at the bottom, they don't know anything about product management and they push features to the backlog. They want you to write items in the backlog. They don't want you to challenge them. What is the value on that? Should we do that in the first place? We're focusing on something different. People expect you to manage the backlog, but managing for them is you insert items on the backlog for them because they are lazy to write and you are the backlog owner. This is not the case for product owners. It's a misconception. And another one is roadmaps are just features to deliver. Roadmap is what in my opinion, is like the most anti-pattern thing because the roadmap transforms almost all agile frameworks into waterfall, into traditional ones. Why? Because they set features to deliver with a tight deadline. And the only thing you do is to implement the features. And what about learning? Where is the empiricism in this case? Well, when roadmaps are thrown over the fence by the management, there is no empiricism. The only thing you have to do is to deliver features for the sake of delivering it. This is not the role of a product owner. It's something different, which we will approach here, how to escape from that. And another one is prioritization. This is just based on wishes. People want something and they want you to do it for the sake of doing. Prioritization has no direction, has no relation with strategy beyond just the wish of stakeholders and management. And the last one, common pattern I want to say is about outcome equals output. Is it like that? The outcome is the result you want to achieve, and the output is a feature, is a means to an end. And the truth is, all features, they are irrelevant until the end users can benefit from that. So no matter what you do, it's just a bet until you prove it works. And then you need to focus on the outcome. What is a sign for that? A sign about the orientation is in the output. You don't kill any features. The only thing you do is putting features live. And this is a problem. And I'm curious, have you ever heard anything similar to that? Have you ever been in this case? From my side, I've been in all of this. All of these I have struggled with. And unfortunately, this is what we face. But the point is not complaining because complaints don't lead us anywhere. It's about what we do with that. What can we do and transform the situation for better? It is now an attitude. And we need to be more rebel instead of be someone who is following the rules. And let's start with the prioritization then to make this clear. Well, prioritization generally is a problem because if we don't have a goal to pursue, everything can be a priority. And then people can just come to you and start shouting, I need this for the sake of something, I need that, and so on. And it's just a fight. Who shout the loudest will get something prioritized. So everything should start with a goal. But now, I just want to share my perspective on why prioritization doesn't work. I see some aspects here. The first one, as I mentioned, the goal is absent. The company may say, we want to be profitable. Well, tell me something I don't know. All companies want to be profitable. This is, of course, we want our clients, our customers to be satisfied with our business. Yeah, everyone wants to do that. But what is the overarching goal? What is the vision? What do we want to achieve next? If we don't have something measurable, we cannot get there, because then we don't know where we are going. Everywhere is right, and that is causing a lot of problems. Which connects to opinions matter more than facts. You are gonna hear something like, "In my opinion, we should do this." Okay, but what observations do you have users need that? What data do you have? And by data, I'm not saying something overcomplicated. What I'm saying here is you have to understand more than just having an opinion. You need to observe someone has a problem and you could solve that and generate business value. But when there's no goal, the only thing is about prioritizing based on opinions. And then who wins? The hippo. And this animal is really dangerous. It's the highest paid person opinion. Generally, once this person is in the room, this person will get everything prioritized. Well, I don't think this is how it should work. And then, what is the focus? The focus is on the output. The only thing that matters is pushing more features live. And nobody cares if someone is using this feature as long as it pleases stakeholders. And this is a common challenge for all of us. And what can we do to do differently? What we can do is in our attitude. And for me, it's like this: to beat the prioritization challenge, you need to start with a goal. And as a product owner, if someone says, you need to help us become profitable, and you say, okay, what can we do to become profitable? Think on a goal and then define a direction for that. And then once you have clarity on the goal you want to pursue, it will be easier for you to get there. I will give an example in some minutes, but just start with the goal. And the moment you have the goal, then you define the outcome you want to achieve. Think like, which is the impact we want to generate. And this is something like, you start with the end in mind. And once you know where you want to get, you can find the way of getting there. Without knowing where you want to get, you cannot find a way. And the other part, which is critical, is about the focus. You need to focus on what will lead you to achieve the outcome you are pursuing. Without focus, then you cannot get anything done. Because what is the common problem today, I have observed, is we work in a very complicated environment, because shallow activities is what people value the most. So we start doing something and then we need to jump and do more and more. And companies expect us to do a lot of projects in parallel, but that leads to only one single thing: to suboptimal results. Because if we cannot focus, we cannot reach our best. We cannot see many things because we have our head full of stuff. And what we should do is, whatever that distracts us from achieving the goal, we say no. And then you can look at me and say, okay, but how do we prioritize? I like starting by removing. So everything start. You have the goal, and then you have the outcome you want to achieve. And then you say no to everything that doesn't lead to the goal. But still, you may have a lot on the table. And then how do you prioritize what you have on the table? There are many prioritization techniques, but most of them are complex. For example, you have rice and then you have ice and so on, but you need to calculate everything. And I don't think this is what it matters, because prioritization is a bet, and prioritization is something that you believe. And the most important is the execution towards learning and then inspect and adapt. I will share with you what I believe to be the easiest way of prioritizing. Once you have removed the distraction and then you have a lot of items on the table, what you could do is use a matrix. And this is my opinion: simplicity beats complexity. Just create a matrix, and then you have in one axis expected outcome. What is the result you can generate? And then we have the easiness of implementation. How hard is that to implement? And so on. And then you start putting the items there. And then I would say they will form clusters. And of course, everything here is based on gut feeling. Maybe you have some observation with the users and so on. But as I said, all features are irrelevant until the users can benefit from it. Until then, it is about prioritizing and learning. And what I like here is the following. Once you understand something has a low impact and is hard to implement, I call that as a waste of time, because we will invest a huge amount of time. And what do we get from that? Little result. These are the candidates. Very good not to do. You just keep them out, remove them from your backlog. There are some situations you need to keep them. They may be some legal requirements, and the impact of not doing them will be giant. And then in this case, then you need to do. But reflect if it is something that is not needed, and then it will be just a waste of time. And also, another trick aspect is the nice to have. Why nice to have is trick? Because nice to have is something that is easy to implement, but generates really low result. And still we focus on that because it's so easy to implement, and we like shallow activity nowadays, and then we focus on this, and then we miss the point. The point is delivering high value for the user. Then the users will fall in love with our product. Then they will recommend to the others. What is interesting for us is about the two other quadrants, the pets and low-hanging fruits. Low-hanging fruits are the things that easy to implement and generate a lot of value. These are the things we should do as fast as possible, but we should mix with some bets, because a common trap in product management is the following. You know, this curve of early adopters, and then you have the early majority and the late majority and the laggards and so on. So the truth is, most people or most companies want to focus on the majority of people. But the point is, this majority of people, they need confirmation. They need someone to give them a recommendation. Then they can jump into that. So sometimes we need to make some bets. So bets, why are they like this? They take a lot of time and they may generate a lot of value. But without them, and we may miss the point, and we may miss important audience. So this is something here that is really interesting for us to look at. Prioritization, in my opinion, we shouldn't overcomplicate that. We should make it simple, prioritize, and then start learning. A lot of people want to have validity. I want to have a validity. I know what I'm doing is right. The truth is, you never know you're doing it right. Your execution is what matters. So that's why I suggest you go to simplicity. You can use different metrics. You can use user value, business value. Take whatever it fits you better. I just gave you my preferred one, which is expected outcome and the ease of implementation. And I will give you one example here. So in one of the places of work, we had a challenge, and the challenge was the following. We wanted to activate around 600 partners in a year, and our capacity was in actually 8 per month. So in this case, it means we wouldn't even get to 100, not even 20% of our goal. And then we said, we need to have a self-service, and we can activate partners in less than an hour. That is the goal. You see, you can understand this goal, it's graspable, and there's a reason behind it. And what is the expected outcome for this? 50 new partners activated per month. So you can measure that. Partners are activated and they can sell products with us. And an activated partner is someone who has sold at least one product. So we wanted to have 50 new ones per month. Challenging, right? I remember when I shared this goal with developers, they looked at me and said, this is simply impossible. We cannot do that with our technology and so on, and we have a lot of things to do. And that is where the focus comes into play. We said everything that doesn't help reaching this goal, it is out. We don't do that. Simple like that. Remember, people went furious with me. They said, we need to do a little bit of everything because otherwise we will not grow the business. I said, that's not how I see. I see we will not grow the business if we don't do what we should do. And now we have a problem with partners. If we don't get new partners activated as fast as possible, we cannot grow. We need to solve this problem first. And then we could do that. And the beauty of that was the developers, they could get to this solution once they could focus, once they removed all the distractions, and we made it possible. At the beginning, it seemed to be impossible, but it was not once we could focus. And this is what I want to tell you. Focus on the right perspective. Don't prioritize solutions to implement. Prioritize problems to solve. Because if you look here, we had a problem. We needed to activate new partners. And we defined here the outcome, not the output. And the truth is, we tried with different solutions and then we learned which one worked. So the focus is always on the problem. So you never prioritize a solution because it is pointless. You need to know the problem you're solving. So let's have a look here if we have some questions. I am looking and I see some comments. I would try to get some questions. Yeah, there's one here about the goal. I will just get this. The goal should be for the sprint, for the product in general, for the feature. Well, this is a good one. The sprint is too short, right? It can be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3, 4, but it's short time frame. Here the goal is something more overarching. And I like breaking it product vision and then product goal and then the sprint goal. And the product vision is where we want to be. And then we have the product goal is the next step to get closer to the product vision. And you should think, what is that? And then what can we do? Well, I gave this example already, but I will give it again. So this is, for example, you take Tesla. I gave the example of SpaceX multiple times, but now if you think Tesla, what do they want? They want to have electric cars spread all over the world. Their vision is not to have any cars with the traditional fuel anymore. So their vision is this. And what is the challenge they face? To have a battery that lasts longer, and then people can use their cars and no need to charge all the time. Product goal could be to develop this battery, and then the team would focus producing this, and it can be multiple teams. And then the sprint goal is the next step to get closer to the product goal. It's like a cascade, and this is the beauty on this. And let's see if we have another question. We have someone, I'm not sure this can be applied to solution as a service company. Example, what do you do with bugs, maintenance? Well, you always need to keep the lights on. There's a service for that. And you can either have a team focus on this, or during on the team, for example, you can decide who is the one doing that per sprint or per day. But the thing is, you don't leave bugs for the whole team or maintenance for the whole team all the time. What you do is you agree with the team how we treat that, so that at least part of the team can focus on something, or you treat that separated. But of course, you have the job of keeping the lights on, and you need to do that, otherwise your product will not be mature. Yeah, so these are the questions we have so far. I will just continue here. Just keep writing them, and now then I will answer after. Now let's talk about measuring what really matters. And this is tricky, because many times we focus on things that they don't let us act. And I call them as vanity metrics, and they just fool us. Let's take some example here. What is irrelevant to measure? The first one is velocity. Well, it may be embarrassing, but I was crazy about velocity. Sprint after sprint, I was looking at what the team was delivering. How fast were we? 30 start points. Now we need to do 33 and 35. And I wanted always to increase that. It doesn't matter. Velocity is not the point. And the other one is features. How many features can we deliver per sprint? How many features can we deliver per quarter? Again, it doesn't matter. And we fool ourselves with this. Why? Because it's easy to look at velocity and understand that. It's easy to calculate the amount of features. But these are non-actionable metrics. For example, there are some more, but what I want to say is we do what is easy and we don't do what is hard. Because when we look at the velocity, we have a number, which means nothing. But how do you measure the outcome, the real value, the result generated with the end users and the business? This is where the tricky aspect comes. And that is where we should focus on. But what are the challenges? We focus on lagging metrics. For example, we look at the revenue. Well, it's important looking at the revenue, but what can you do once you understand your revenue is down? What can you do once you understand your clients are not satisfied with your product? Or what can you do once you realize your return rate is unsustainable and you have no way of having a profitable business? Well, these metrics, once again, they are easy to measure. You look at them, you understand something, but you cannot do anything with them. This is like this. So let's have a look at what Corin said. A lag indicator is something that tells you what is going to happen after it already happened. For example, if you are intensively looking at the revenue, what can you understand about it? You can understand that you don't have a sustainable revenue after that happened. What can you do once you understand your customers are unsatisfied? Well, you may think we are going to lose our customers, but actually at this point you already lost them. You need to recover. It's way hard to recover customers, and the same goes to return rate. And these are what fools us. We cannot act on these. Great product owners, in the other hand, will do something different. You will focus on leading indicators. You define what success is. For example, success is a return rate of 20%. And then you think, what are the indicators that will show us we will get to this return rate? You could take the example, success is an NPS, Net Promoter Score, 8. It means that our customers are promoters. They will recommend us to their friends. Then you think, what leads to happiness? Of course, you need to measure the NPS, but you need to measure first what will lead to that. What leads to customer satisfaction? Well, for example, if you match their expectations, let's consider online shop. If you deliver on time, well, the chance of being happy is better. If they receive what they expect and they don't return the product, if they have a problem and you solve as fast as possible. So if you match their expectations, they will be happy. But if you fool them, they will not. But you need to think what leads to something. And the point is, we should ask more questions instead of giving answers, because many times we look at the revenue down and we start creating assumptions, and we are not curious to understand why it is down. So we should ask more questions to understand how we get there. So this is something that we really need to look at it. And now I will give you a case. For example, in one of the places I worked, we were struggling with our return rate, and our return rate was insane. It was more than 50%. It was like 60%. And we had no chance of being profitable because we didn't charge anything for the return. And then customers were returning like crazy. And we said success for us is when we have a return rate of 25%. Then we needed to understand what would lead to return. And we reflected on it and we came to some points. We realized that customers generally return because they have wrong expectations. Products don't have enough information there, and then they will be disappointed and they will end up returning because they didn't get what they expected. Another one is about inaccurate information, and this can be related to the delivery time. Imagine someone wants to get something for her birthday or for someone else's birthday, and then it comes after that. You will be just pissed off because, for example, the delivery time was setting a false expectation. And what we did actually was to monitor the quality of our information and understand which products were missing information, and then push category management team to put more information, and then also to put more pictures. We realized that products, for example, with one or two pictures, they were the high runners of returns. People were returning them almost 80%. And we said, we need to solve this problem here. We need to provide more pictures. Then we can avoid returns because clients will understand what they are buying. And we start monitoring the amount of products we had with only one or two pictures and then acting on that. So we were using indicators that allowed us to act before the problem happens. This is the difference of leading indicator and lagging indicator. So you start with the lagging to understand where you want to get, and then you define needing ones to get there, and these are the ones you should monitor. So have a look at this. Selecting the right measure and measuring things right are both art and science, and KPIs influence management behavior as well as business culture. So defining the right KPIs is hard, it's really hard. And the example I gave, we needed to monitor our products and then start acting on category management. And then they changed their behavior. Why were they doing that? They were putting products live with 1 or 2 pictures because they were pressured. They need to put products live as fast as possible. Then they didn't care about the quality, but that hit us on the return and profitability. And once we start monitoring this, we could change the scenario. We could avoid the problem before it happened. Now let's take also the time here to answer some questions. I see here some comments and so on. Let's see if there are some questions, and I will try to take them and answer. Here, there's one. Any tips on setting internal expectation with sales team executives? This is always something interesting. To set internal expectations, we need to define what is the goal, where we want to be, and then align on how we prioritize. Generally, a sales team tries to promise things to people without alignment, and then the team is pushed to deliver. And executives try to command and control, defining features to deliver. And I think it's about the direction and alignment with that. Product vision helps a lot with this. If we have a product vision where people can follow, then it becomes easier to have expectations managed. There's another one here. Can you comment on indicators for smaller products with large customer base versus large monolith products with smaller customer base? Well, it always depends on your customer, on your segment. You of course you have your traditional ways of measuring. So for example, you have the conversion rate, then you have the conversion funnel, and you have the recommendation. So for me, it's about understanding your scenario, and then also understanding the business model, and then understand where are the critical points. For example, what do we need to ensure that doesn't happen? And if it happens, it causes a big problem. Then you start measuring that. And e-commerce, for example, one thing that causes a big problem is if customers are coming to the website, they search for products, and they don't add anything to the cart. So they are just going, browsing around. It means we have the wrong product, or we have the wrong audience. So something is wrong. So we need to ensure we have a conversion rate on adding to cart, and then it's another battle, and so on and so on. There's another one here that is pretty interesting. Did you develop your measures before you started? Yeah, that is cool. Great question. And this is related to the outcome. I think you should develop your measures before. So you define the outcome, and then you define how to measure that. And without knowing how to measure, how can you build it? I really like starting with the end in mind. And I think this is what helps us succeed in our journey. There's another one. This is tricky. How do you handle deadline-driven features with consistent of regulatory requirements? Well, this one you need to start with, I would say, the end and to walk backwards. And requirements, you need to understand how to manage them, and organize a team. So I like understanding what is the impact, because sometimes the impact is small, and then it means like the deadline is arbitrary. But sometimes the impact is high, and then we need to deliver. So it's about focus. What is more important now, to match the regulations or to evolve the product? If we have to match the regulations, we need to focus on that. So for me, it's about not parallelizing with other things. You need to have a way of focusing, and then you get that done and you move to the next. So that's how I would handle. And someone is asking if the video will be available later. Yeah, it will be available. You just need to subscribe to the channel here. You can do that now. Just subscribe. There are some more. There was one here. How is the 25% defined? Is it a random number? I think you were talking about this. How did we come to the 25? It was about profitability. We realized that if we had 25% of return rate, we could become profitable. More than that, we would never be profitable. So that was the reason for that. We did the calculation how to be profitable and then define what we need to monitor. This was one of the initiatives. I will take just two more questions and then I will go. I will take the three more that are here and I will go to the next part. Okay, usually what's the process of testing particular feature for the success metric other than A/B tests, or you add the task for the data analyst to work on it? What is the process? Well, it's the answer I don't like. It depends. But for me, the most important is to have user feedback. And it doesn't matter if you have few, because few is better than none. So for me, a prototype is a good one. You share with some users. Generally, from 6 to 8 is a good number, and then you learn from them, and then you see if it will work or not. But if you have a bigger tool like e-commerce with millions of users, then A/B testing would be a great one. And still, I can imagine some tests with some smaller users, smaller groups of users to get meaningful feedback, because A/B tests you have only with numbers, but when you have with users, real ones, you can observe the behavior. So this is what I like doing. And there's one from Nuno here. How do you manage measuring in your job? Do you have any tips on making it a routine? Yeah, that's a good one. I think it has to be a routine. I like starting the day with that and finishing also. So at the beginning of the day, I look at the KPIs I'm monitoring, and then I say, are they going in the direction I expect or not? And then I can act. And I do the same at the end of the day as well. Well, there's one here. How can the Scrum Master help the product owner about the roadmap? We will get to this later here. But I think the Scrum Master has to fight the anti-patterns in the organization and coach the executives, which is hard. But this is one way. We will get there. So for now, I will not take more questions. I will just continue here, and then I take later, if it's fine for you. So let's just go here. Now I come to this point here, becoming an outstanding product owner. So the truth is, we have challenges ahead of us. And if we don't know how to handle them, how can we be successful? We need to know how to overcome the challenges awaiting us, and then we can deliver real value. Well, it is not easy to become a product owner and then to excel. One thing is getting the job, and the other is succeeding in your journey. The truth is, there are many things I wish I knew when I started my journey, but you don't need that. You can take some shortcuts. If you allow me, let me help you excel in your journey. What I did recently, I created a course that summarized 10 years of experience and learning in 4 hours. And I did really honestly. I shared what I wish I knew when I had 1 or 2 years of experience in this area. And I hope that will help you in your journey, avoid the painful failures I had, and also to deliver value faster. This course is not theoretical. This is something practical on how to excel in the digital product world. I give you tips on what to do as well as what not to do, and then you can succeed in your journey. I focus really on how to overcome the challenge ahead of you. And this course, it is about helping you excel in your career. And this is more or less the material you're going to find. And as an instructor, I had more than 2,500 students so far in 64 countries. So it means people all over the world benefited somehow from one of my content. And this is something that you can benefit as well if you allow me to help you. Here you can read some reviews. There are many reviews, and people enjoy what I have to share because it is honest. I like helping you in your journey. What I share is not for me, it is for you. And if you want to benefit from that, here is the new course I've just released 2 weeks ago, and this is called Becoming an Outstanding Product Owner. Do you remember when I created the course, How to Become a Product Owner? I said that would be a trilogy. The first course is in the beginning of the career. The other one is taking the next step, advancing as a product owner. And then I created the course Becoming an Outstanding Product Owner. And the next one will be how to master the role. But now, if you want to learn how to beat the anti-patterns awaiting you, subscribe now for the course. The link is on the description of this video. Just go there, have a look at the course. It's on Udemy. I don't want this course to be expensive. I just want to share knowledge and help you succeed. And if you have anything to help me make this material better, just write to me on LinkedIn and then I will do that. I hope this course will help you in your career. And this is the second one. Those who made the first, they really enjoyed. And I hope you can also benefit from this one. I will just continue here. I talked already a lot about the course, but if you are interested in becoming an outstanding product owner, let me help you. You don't need to suffer in your journey. You can get the shortcut, and I will share you the nuggets of knowledge where you can apply insights and escape from traps and pitfalls. Just subscribe for the course. The link is on the description. But now, talked a lot about the course. Let's continue here on our webinar. A lot of people told me they have problems with roadmaps. How to craft this roadmap? And the problem is, generally, we focus on what solutions we want to implement, what features to deliver, but it's not about this. And to go through this, I would like to quote one of my favorite authors, Simon Sinek. The role of a leader, it is not to come up with all the great ideas. The role of a leader, it is to create an environment in which great ideas can happen. You see the difference? As a leader, you are not the one who is supposed to create all the ideas. You create an environment where the great ideas can happen. This is a difference. And many times executives misunderstand that because they want to create the ideas and they want people to execute. Well, if you give this, people will not commit. Teams will not commit to deliver anything. They will not feel accountable. And this is the problem of roadmaps. It comes with a deadline, a set of features to deliver. Wow. And how can you do that? It just doesn't work. So, have you been there? Have you seen this kind of situation? I can imagine that you've been there. This is really common in the product management world. And unfortunately, I've been locked in roadmap trap almost my whole life. And it's very hard to escape from that. When we look here, what are the main problems? I mentioned some of them already. Most of the roadmaps, they are anti-patterns because they define features to deliver. And this is against Scrum, against Kanban, against any kind of agile framework you work, because this is against empiricism. You should focus on a problem to solve, experiment with different solutions, learn from which one that works, and then inspect and adapt. This is the core. But once you have a feature to deliver, then I would ask you, when was the last time you kicked the feature out of the live environment? If you're not doing that, it means you are locked into the feature factory trap. And the other aspect that makes roadmaps not work is product teams are out of the loop. And by product teams here, I mean Scrum teams, development team, whoever it is, the name varies in each team, but those who are focused on building the product, they're not there. And it happens like this. Roadmaps are just thrown over the fence. I remember many times, the beginning of the quarter, the CEO would come and say, for this quarter, we are going to focus on building a new engine and artificial intelligence. Then we will replace a system like this. And the CEO kept talking and talking and talking, and we were just puzzled. I remember in one of the companies, we were 7 Scrum teams, and the CEO talked for 1 hour, just saying all the features he wanted to deliver, and no problem to solve at all. And well, and did you think we committed? Well, we couldn't, and we couldn't deliver even half of that. So this is one of the reasons it failed. And the other one is the prioritization is based on wishes. It's a political way of prioritizing. Well, in this case, there's no way roadmaps are going to be successful. we need something different than that to make roadmaps successful. And what is important? Important is you focus on the journey, not on the plan. And it's so easy to say we are agile, and then what we do the most is to create plans to deliver our content, to deliver our product. And there's something from the military that is no plan can survive the extent contact with the enemy. And for me, it's like this: no plan can survive contact with the end user. What is that? Like prioritization. You can invest a lot of time prioritizing, but if you don't invest time executing, you will not learn. So you can invest a lot of time planning, but if you don't show that to the user, if you don't deliver something to the user, it's not going to work. Because if there's something the users will do to you, is they will surprise you. They will do things you don't expect. They will look at that, this is useless for me, or maybe I can not benefit from this because of this and that. You need to learn from the users. And this is the critical part of roadmap. Embrace learning. If your roadmap does not allow you to embrace learning, then it will not let you go anywhere but frustrations. Now, let me tell you what I believe to be the most important ingredients of roadmaps. The first one is ownership from product teams. The product teams, they define the solutions they are going to implement. Or even better than that, they define the key results they are going to achieve. And there is an empowerment from the management. The management will focus on the outcome. What is the objective? Where we want to go? And then the product teams will define what we can achieve for that objective. But for that, it's very important to have this. Less is more. Currently, we believe that it is all about delivering more and more and more, but we miss the quality, we miss the value, we miss the point. And even in the names of agile frameworks like Scrum, Sprint, it means velocity. See, we are all about velocity. But the truth is, velocity only slows us down. Sometimes when I travel with my wife, I like speeding. Here in Germany, we don't have limit and so on, so I like speeding. And then what happens? What happens is I generally miss where I should turn, and that takes a lot of time to return after. So, if you try to be too fast, you may miss what you should pay attention to and then adapt. So, walk on a speed that you have the space of learning and observing, and then you can inspect and adapt. So that is why less is always more in terms of roadmap. And the most important part in big corporations, you may have a lot of teams. It's not just one Scrum team, and you need to foster collaboration. Why? Because if the teams they have conflicting directions, they will not collaborate with each other. They will actually compete. And in this case, the only thing you can expect is mediocrity. You will not reach anything. So focus on less. And then also give the space for teams to collaborate. This will allow you to get to meaningful results. And that is the reason I connect to OKRs. I believe OKRs are amazing because what could it be? The role of the management is to define the main goal, and then the teams will define the key results. I will share one example with you, but I will just take a little break here and look if we have questions, because if we do, I will just answer them. So let's have a look here what we have. We had some questions related to the previous one. I will, so there was one question about metrics. In a B2B, where the replacements are provided earlier for returns, how should the metrics look like as a customer satisfaction in vanity metrics? Well, you need to think about what leads to customer satisfaction. In B2B is really different. But there's always a possibility. In one of the companies I worked, we sold cars for dealers and they were B2B. So they bought cars from us. And for them, what would make them unsatisfied was to receive a car with surprises. So we need to ensure what surprise mean for them. And then we need to keep adapting input information. So we monitor the information we needed for the cars. That was one. And the other was the time to deliver the car and the information and so on. So think on the metric, and then you think the steps to build trust. And then these are the steps you have to monitor. There was another question about metrics here. Do you revisit metrics after the sprint execution while working on the new sprint? It's something like once you push something live, you need to keep monitoring, and then you start working the new sprint, and then you can adapt that. But you need to keep monitoring all the time. And of course, once you go live with something, you don't get the results the next day. You need some time to monitor, and then you decide when to come back. So yeah, I would review after a couple of sprints as it needed. There are more questions here. Let me take here. What do you think are the first three things product owners should do after coming to a completely new project? Well, I think I wrote an article about the 9 things product owners should do once they start a new team. The first one I believe to be getting to know the business model. Because if you don't understand how the business model works, you cannot do anything in the product. The second one would be understanding the users, like what are their needs, what do they expect from the product, how can they benefit from that, what value means for them, and also for the business. And then I would say to the vision, the product vision, the product goal, and then understand where the company is going. That can be very useful and actionable. But you can find this article. If you write to me on LinkedIn, I can send you the link of this article. I wrote about 9 steps product owners should do once they start a new job. Just write to me on LinkedIn. So there's some more here. B2B roadmaps shares hardware products launch instead of feature. What's your opinion about that approach? Hardware problems launch. Well, this one I cannot comment about hardware products because I have no experience on that. I have experience on digital world, and I focus on these. Maybe you could elaborate a little bit more what you expect. For me, roadmap has to empower teams. If there's no room for that, it leads to just a feature factory. I will take another question before we go to the next part. Question: how to handle when executives are demanding and asking for roadmaps, as in the plans, when the features are being delivered? Well, this is about, it's what Steve Jobs said. You don't hire smart people to tell them what to do. You hire smart people to tell us what to do. And you need to look at the executive. Do you want to do things as they were done in the past, or do you want to do things that they should be done? Because if you don't have space for embrace learning, you are just failing. And I know executives can be demanding, but tell them, like, okay, let's think on the feature you want to deliver. What is that for? So when you ask what is that for, you can move from what to why. And that is the challenge. A product owner should understand which level is the conversation. Is it on the how, is it on the what, or is it on the why? If it is on the what or the how, you need to move until you get to the why. Without knowing the why, you cannot prioritize anything. How do you explain your marketplace knowledge to the Scrum team? Well, I bring always the problem and what happens if we don't do that. What I shared there with the team was our marketplace has an ambitious goal of growing. And then I showed the business model. And then the team could understand how our business works. I said, here is the bottom line. Here is the bottleneck, sorry. The bottleneck. We cannot grow as fast as we want to because we don't have a self-service for onboarding new partners, and we need to solve this bottleneck. Then once they understood the business model, then we could go to the problem we had and solve that. Start with the business model and then the problem you have and why is it important to solve. How to say no to stakeholders that want features by their opinion rather than facts when you don't have data and time to get it. Well, first you should start with the goal. Is it connected to the goal you were pursuing? If it is not connected to the goal, it's already a no. You have more than enough to that. You can ask the question, how does that help us achieving our goal? The stakeholder says it doesn't, then it's not a priority. So this is one. And another way could be, for example, um, if you don't have data, remember the priority metrics. Where would you put that? Easiness of implementation and then expected outcome. And then you say, wow, this would be incredibly hard to implement. Expected outcome is low. So does it worth investing time? Then you can decide or not. And you could agree on doing a prototype and getting user interview. So it is about setting expectations and bringing the stakeholder to understand more about the feature and if it is worth investing on that or not. Yeah. What, how, why? Simon Sinek model. Exactly. So this is from the book Start with Why, and this is the golden circle. Exactly. I really love this model. So let's go here to this example I was going to give you. One of the companies I worked, we had a huge problem and we were not profitable. And I remember when the CEO came to present the roadmap, he said 2 billion things to deliver and all were related into features. And then I was puzzled by that. You know why? Because we were 3 teams. I was the only product owner and we had 3 teams and we couldn't deliver that. But I want to know the problem we had. And then I asked the CEO, what is the most pressuring problem we have right now? And the CEO said, everything is important. We need to do everything. I said, I am missing the problem. I need to know the problem. And then someone from marketing, funny enough, was an intern, brave and bold. She said, we're not profitable. And the reason is simple. Our customer acquisition cost is skyrocketing. If we keep like that, we will burn all the cash we have. And by listening to that, the CEO was really shocked. And he said, yeah, but it's an investment. But maybe we can do something. And then we agreed we should focus on reaching break even. And then we could evolve the product. To reach break even, we need to reduce our customer acquisition costs by 20% at the end of the quarter. And then the CEO said if we reach that, everything else becomes a secondary priority. I don't like secondary priorities. For me, it's one priority, one direction. If you have multiple, you don't have any. But we could agree on reaching break even by reducing customer acquisition costs. And then we said if we can increase customer lifetime value by 15% until the end of the year, that would also lead us to that. If we can reduce the return rate from 45 to 30, but we focus first on the key result was more pressuring. And for that, we realized we had loyal customers and we could invite them to bring their friends in exchange of award. And we said, just share your love for wine. You bring a friend, you and your friend get an exclusive bottle of wine. And you both benefit as well as us. And that's what we did. We developed this and then we could experiment with different solutions until it worked. And we reduced by more than 20% the customer acquisition costs. But we had the room to do that. And this is the reason I really like OKRs because they let us be agile. They don't force us to become a feature factory. And this is the reason I really recommend doing that. So sometimes you need to challenge and sometimes you need to follow the rules. But the point I want to tell you is the following. If you want to advance your career as a product owner, you need to make a choice. Either you bow to the status quo or you are bold and you do what should be done. And that many times will be tough. It means you need to go into conflicts, tough ones, and you need to challenge what people are ignoring. You need to take a stand and do what should be done, not what you could, but what you should. And this is connected to what I mentioned. Executives, they don't understand. They hire smart people, product owners, product managers, to let them deliver value. They expect to guide them and they become executors. That's not the case. As a product manager, you are the one who are the specialist, and you need to take a stand on that and fight the anti-patterns. So this is what I encourage you to do. Never, ever, ask for permission. Just do what you believe to be right. And if you're right, the results will talk for yourself. They will talk for your actions. Sometimes you may need to ask for forgiveness, but it's okay. It's okay. Just do what has to be done. So we are coming to an end. I will take more questions, but don't forget, if you want to get more insights like this, go to my course and subscribe for that. You can also subscribe to my channel in YouTube right here, right now. I will go back to post more videos for you. And you can also subscribe to my Medium, to LinkedIn, and so on. If you like, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe here, and also subscribe to my course. So for now, what questions do you have? So I'm looking here. I see some more questions. So there is this one. How to relate Simon Sinek Golden Circle to product management? Oh, this is easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You just need to start with where is the why? The why is the vision, where we want to go. So start with the vision. People will come with the what. Why is this strategy? Why do we exist? Why does the product exist so far? Product vision. And then you can come to the what. How can we make that possible? And then to the how. People generally don't talk in this. They talk about the what and the how. You need to bring them to the why. So it's an attitude. You need to ensure you understand the reason the product exists. Another one here. Should we compare profit per customer with customer acquisition cost? So it's not really per customer, but it is a general way of calculating. So you have a general customer acquisition cost, and then you will have like the profitability for that customer lifetime value. And then when you do the math, you understand if you're profitable or not. Of course, you can compare the customer lifetime value and acquisition cost per channel. For example, newsletter channel, Google Ads, and so on and so on, and also organic traffic. But the point is, understand the customer lifetime value as well as acquisition cost that shows your profitability. How do you say no to CEO? Usually they try to have it their way. Well, if they want to, if they are a good CEO, they will listen to you. But it's about being polite, and it's about being, I would say, you trust yourself. You know what you're doing. I've said no many times to CEOs already, and once CEO said we have to do that, and said what happened if we don't do? What would change in our lives? And the CEO had no answer to that. I said, what do you want to achieve? Help me help you. I need to know what is in your mind. What is your vision? Where do you want to go? If you keep that in your mind, as a product manager, I have no chance of being able to help you. So help CEOs bring what is in their mind to words, and then you can understand the direction. Push back. It is about being bold. If you want to be a rule follower, you can also. Some CEOs appreciate that, but that will not allow you to become an advanced product owner. So guys, there's one more thing I almost forgot. I wanted to get your perspective on how did the workshop, how did the webinar here go, and then I will share with you one link on Mentimeter, and I would like you to provide your feedback. How worth was that? I'm just sharing the link. Just give here your perception. Just share your honest score. And if you didn't like, please just write here. I want to make it better because this is for you. It's not for me. Please feel that. I will just take some more questions and then I will just show what is happening there. So there's one more here. How are the OKRs managed and reviewed? So if they are done right, the executive, the leadership team will come with the objectives. And the ones who are going to execute come with the key results. It's a collaboration. Of course, the management and leadership need to accept the key results, but it's in a collaboration way. What cannot happen is executives will also define the key results. That should not, because it will not empower the teams and the teams will not care about it. One more here. So How to help proxy PO? They don't normally make a final decision to prioritize. Yeah, you need to know where you stand, and you need to know where the customer stands. I've been there. I know what it is, and what is the case is you act more as a consultant. You should say what you believe to be right and why, and then you shift the decision to the ones who can make. So you understand you are a proxy PO, and then you say what is important. It is hard to be a proxy PO because you don't have all the responsibilities you should to be successful as one. But play the role of a consultant, make it clear, and say which decision you would proceed with and why. More questions. They are just popping up here. What thoughts do you have on how to influence change as a product owner when we notice anti-patterns? Well, just act and then show the results. Results talk more than words. Actions talk, but results, they are what make change. So I will just have a look here what we have for the results. Just a quick moment. Let me just check here what we have for the how do you evaluate the webinar. I'm really curious to see your evaluation because this is how I can make this better. I see here a lot of people saying I got a lot of applicable insights. That make me really happy. It was good. I got useful information. Also makes me really happy. I made this for you. And please just keep sharing with me your ideas on how to make it better. What do you want to hear from me? You can write to me on LinkedIn, can follow me there on Medium. I'm very accessible. And what I want is to foster the product management community to beat the anti-patterns so that you can build products that are relevant for the end users and generate real value, not just something that is it's just for the sake of building. Nobody wants to do that. What we want to do is to build products that matter. So I will take one or two more questions. We are just a little bit over time here, but I can continue here just to share with you what to do. There's one question here. What to do if the sprint goal isn't achieved? Well, you have the retro, right? In the retrospective, you can ask this question. Why didn't we achieve the sprint goal? How can we ensure that doesn't happen during the next sprint? Inspect and adapt. Find the problem, fix it, and make it different. Sprint by sprint, the team has to become better. Is there a way to predict or formulate leading indicators without a lagging indicator ever? Well, not that I know, to be very honest with you. I think you start with the end in mind, the lag indicator you want to achieve and how to get there. So this is what I imagine. This is what I have been doing so far, and it works pretty well. Okay, guys, I see a lot of things popping up here still. How do you change executive perception? Well, you need to understand where they stand and why, and you can only change if you understand the why. And then you need to challenge and ask sometimes to show something. But as I said, sometimes you need to take some risks because words will not talk. Some people, they want to see the results. Once you show the results, they will talk more than words. So it's your behavior. Take risks and prove with results instead of trying to convince with words. Words that don't convince. So for now, we are getting here to the end of the session, and I hope that you could enjoy. And once again, please, if you want to become a successful product owner, subscribe to my course and let me know what you think about it. If you're at the beginning of the career, you can subscribe to How to Become a Product Owner. If you want to advance your skills and know what it takes to become an outstanding product owner, this is the course for you. Thanks a lot for your time and interaction here. I really love how you interacted because this is what I like, exchanging with people. And this is what motivates me. It brings a lot of energy. Today is a really beautiful day here in Munich. It's really sunny. We have been like whole crap week of rain and so on, and I took my time to come here and talk to you, and I feel really energized and I'm really motivated. Thanks a lot for that. So I hope see you next time. And for those who want to see this video, just subscribe to my channel. Thumbs up if you enjoyed. See you next time. Have a great weekend.